time.
Good Morning Gwinnett presents the Friday Morning Mingle, the show hosted by the women of the Thrive Tribe, sponsored by the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. Check out the ladies every Friday morning at 10 a.m. as they talk about their real life as an entrepreneur. If you miss an episode, be sure to go to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com to listen to past shows. Sit back and enjoy.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Friday Morning Mingle. So it's your girl, Audrey Bell Kearney here today. Glad to be here with you guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today is Friday. I know a lot of you are so excited about it's Friday. I get it because I'm excited too. I was telling Georgia earlier, I was like, normally the weekend is just the weekend for me, right? But I could tell y'all, I've been so busy this past week. I'm literally looking forward to the weekend. So anyway, hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. So today is Friday Morning Mingle. And the title today is, do you need to be the head bee in business? And I thought about that title because sometimes as business owners, are you ready, G? All right, I'm about to pop Georgia up on the screen.
Nope, that's a lot.
That ain't gonna work. Okay, so we're at Atlanta Tech Park. Atlanta Tech Park. Atlanta Tech Park is one of our partners for the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. They help us a lot with a lot of our tech stuff. You know, we have a lot of tech things going on. So today, after I finish the Friday Morning Mingle, we also have a class scheduled for anybody who wanted to learn how to leverage technology, specifically AI and tools that you can use to grow your business and video marketing. So that's going to be happening soon, and so I'm excited about that. And it's just great. Talking today about being the head bee in business. Now, as a business owner, especially a woman in business, there's a lot of times that you actually have to, you have to be tough. A lot of times we can't be so soft, and so when we are tough, we get called the B word, right? We get called, you're the B word, you just been the B word. But for other people, when they're tough, it's like just a part of business. So I came up with that topic because I wanted to dive deep into, what that actually means and why that's important. I want to say good morning to everybody listening. We're streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Amazon. Shout out to everybody on Amazon. I love when they stop by to say hi. So thank you for joining us this morning. When you think about starting a business, there's a lot to go with this, right? As a woman in business, as a woman entrepreneur, we have to do so much. We have to wear a lot of hats most of the time. We have to raise the family. We have to, sometimes we have a job to go to while we're trying to do our business. So there's a lot that goes on as a business owner. And sometimes, when we have to be tough about things, people tend to say, we're being the B word, right? But are we really being the B word, or are we being a business owner? Are we doing the things that we have to do? And does it come off aggressive? Sometimes you can be a little aggressive. You can be. Sometimes you can be a little bit aggressive. Sometimes you can, even sometimes some people are now. Let me just back up. There are some bees in business. There really are. And you know who they are, but I bet you if you had a chance to actually sit down and talk to them, they were made to be that way, right? They probably weren't always that way, because what happens is you have to grow tough skin. You have to endure a lot. You have to endure a lot of mistrust. You have to endure a lot of people stabbing your back. You have to endure a lot when you want to be when you want to be in charge. When you start your business, there's a lot that comes with that. Yes, you have the dream, and yes, you want to follow the dream, and yes, you want to, you want to bring the dream to fruition. You want to create this legacy for your family. You want to create freedom for your family. You want to create financial freedom for your family. There's a lot that comes with that, right? But here's what happened. Along the way, you get ran over so many times as an entrepreneur, so sometimes it makes you super duper tough, and then you have to figure out exactly, who you are, and you don't know who you are because you have to endure the pain that goes with being an entrepreneur. And so sometimes that get misconstrued as you being a bee, like the head bee. Now, let me just say this. I am the head boss in charge of my business. I am, right? So all the pain that I go through in running this business, all the suffering that I go through, all the good, all the bad, that's because I'm the head boss in business over here. Now, I call that be boss, but some other people may call it the B word, right? And when I say the B word, we know what I'm talking about. Now, do you think you are the head B in charge? Some of us may say I am, and that's cool with them. I particularly feel that when we have to when somebody tells us who we are and who they think we are, that's when it becomes a problem. So I'm gonna bring in Letitia. She has popped in. She's one of the good morning,
Good
Friday morning mingle.
morning. Good morning.
What
Good
you doing?
morning. Man, I was on another call that ran over, so I apologize. You know how it is being an entrepreneur. We give 15 minutes, and the 15 minutes turns into 30. So, but the good thing is, I have a very good opportunity to secure this client, so I'm very excited about it. So, good morning. My apologies to everyone.
Cool. Listen, that's what I was talking about. We have to do so much, so it's okay. Like I'm here, Georgetta's trying to get her signal right, and it's okay because we have a lot going on most of the time. So, the topic today is: do you need to be the head B in business, right? And so I was just telling the audience that sometimes us being a boss, people misconstrue that with us being the other B word, and that's because we have so many things that go on now. And I said, don't get it twisted. Some of us are really B words. Let me just say that. But I believe that if we are, it's because we had to grow tough skin. We had to actually go through so much in this space as a business owner. And so, if you want to weigh in on that, jump in and just what's your thoughts on that?
Well, the first thing when you said the B word, I mean, I thought the same thing. Was like, wait a minute, I thought we can't say certain words on the show. How is it that that's the topic? But yes, it's funny that you say that because a lot of times people mistake certain your actions and your passion for the wrong words. And so, yes, you do have to be the head boss. You have to be matter of fact. You have to have tough skin, and you just have to know that you know that you know, even when you don't know. Because guess what? People can sniff out your insecurities a mile away. So you have to stay strong and stay firm in whatever it is that you are doing. And unfortunately, sometimes people are going to misconstrue that in a bad way. But guess what? That is not your problem. It really is
Yeah.
not. You stay true to who you are, you stay true to your business, and then you just keep it moving. That is part of being the head B, which is the head boss in this scenario.
That's right. But and what's crazy is you right. Like, and let me say this: the people that I have met that have been in power, like really in power, they are the nicest people when you get to know them on a personal
Mhm.
level. I
Mhm.
think most of them they grow this hard shell on the outside because a lot of times, especially when you get to a certain level of success, right, or you're on your way, you get stabbed up so much. People will jab you so much. People will try to use you. They try to beat you down. It's so much that goes on till you grow this tough shell, not intentionally, but just because. And I was talking to someone yesterday who's in a high power position, and she was saying, I don't know who to trust. And I was like, I totally understand that. She's like, I honestly don't know who to trust. And I said, I get that. And she said, because you never know who's kicking your back in. You never know um who's genuine, and that's real. Like, you don't know who's genuine, you don't know who's kicking your back, and you don't know who the opportunist is, you don't know who your conditional friends are, you don't know any of these things until you know. But when you find out who they are, it puts this shell on you, and the more you get stabbed up, the thicker the shell becomes. The more you see people that try to deceive you, the thicker the shell becomes. The more you feel like people are trying to use you, the thick. And then next thing you know, you're wrapped up in this cocoon of the shell, and people say, "Oh, she's a bee. She's such a bee." But she wasn't always like that. He wasn't even like that. But after all of this long time of just doing stuff and getting beat down, till you grow that shell around you, not intentionally, but because People force you to grow that shell around you. I remember years ago, 25 to be exact, maybe 20, no, not 23. I did a we did a pageant, and we had went to a pageant before, so we had the doll company. So I've always been like this marketing person. Let's think outside the box marketing. And I decided we were going to do a pageant to promote the doll company. And we had gone to a pageant that was ran horribly. Like I was actually in the pageant, and the pageant owners were the pageant owners were like they were, good morning, good to see you. The pageant owners were actually, they cheated. They was conniving. They did so many things that were wrong. So we were like, when we do our pageant, we're not going to do any of those things. Well, we wind up actually having the pageant, finding some of the most amazing judges, all of these things, right? And people still said we cheated, we did all this stuff, and here we were trying to be and have integrity. Well, I cried like a baby after that because I know all of the work that we put in, and the person that won, she was a size 14, but she was 5'8". So they thought that she wasn't plus size, she was in the plus size industry. She was definitely plus size, but she didn't look it because she was 5'8" and wore size 14. But she won, and they thought she won because she sold the most tickets. Like, oh my God, it was so crazy. I cried like a baby after that pageant, and I vowed to never do one again. You know what? I never did one again. Made so much money, didn't matter. I was hurt. People hurt my feelings. We know we were in cheating, all these different things. And so after I got over myself, one of the women who was a judge, and as a matter of fact, she worked at I think she worked at Essence magazine at the time. She was either an editor or an assistant editor. So I called her. Her name is Sonia Lean. And I said, Sonia, let me just ask you this. Why did she win? The girl that won. She said she won because she was together. She said, I don't know who her team was, but whoever her team was, they put her together. The person that we thought should have won, that I thought would have won, had the prettiest clothes. But it had nothing to do with just the clothes. It was like everything else. They was like, well, I said, why didn't she win? They was like, well, she just did some stuff that was just raunchy. Like she came out on stage, she had on underwear, you could see everything. And I was
Oh
like,
wow.
yeah, it was crazy. But I said all that to say there was a young lady who was a vendor. Her name was Janine Biggins. She said, Audrey, she said, this is my first real stint as an entrepreneur. She said, you plan on staying in this space, you have to grow some tough skin. And
Mhm.
so I said
Mhm.
all that to say, that shell that we get wrapped in is from all of the years of enduring the the pain that we go through as entrepreneurs. So I'm gonna stop
It's
talking, let
survival.
somebody else jump
It's
in.
survival. It's all about survival, and you learn that again. And like you said, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, most people, even in their toughest, they really are genuinely nice people. It's just that you're not going to get that side of them because honestly, you haven't earned that, and rightfully so. So I have to meet you in your element. And, I get that a lot of times with people when they meet me, it's always, oh my God, you always about business. You always so serious. And then when I am in an element in which we can be laid back and relaxed, then it's like, oh gosh, you really are funny. Oh my goodness, you really are a nice person. And I do remember we had that conversation. I'm like, yes, I am. But I have not been in that environment with you for you to be able to see that. And again, it's a trust factor as well. I have to be able to trust that I can be my vulnerable self because usually when you are laughing and you are, in that moment like that, I'm now showing you a different side of me. So you're being more vulnerable. So in that case, I do have to trust who I am around to be my vulnerable self. And a lot of times when you are an entrepreneur, when you are a business owner, you can't do that. The expectation is that you have to be a beast, be a boss, be about the business because that's what I want you to be. But it's like, I am that, but who wants to be on all day long? Nobody wants to be on all day.
Yeah,
Well, at
that's
least I
draining.
don't. I can't speak for anybody else. At least I don't. But it comes off as, the B word sometimes. But really, no, it's not. It really is not. I'm on when I need to be on, and then when I need to be off, I am. It's just that you are not in my circle to be able to see that side of me, and rightfully so.
Yeah, get that.
Absolutely. I think the thing too is to recognize like that the circle is very important. Like, let me just start right there. That circle is so important,
Yeah,
y'all.
Mhm.
And here's the other thing too. You have to beware of people who try to infiltrate your circle for their own selfish reason, because you're gonna meet them. If you are in this space as an entrepreneur and you're rising to the top, oh, you are going to meet those who will try to infiltrate your circle because they're selfish, they're looking for opportunities. And here's the
Mhm.
ugly part about that, right? And I've been doing this a long time, a long time. You will meet those people, they see something, they jump on board, and then they jump off. You know why they jump off? Because you have this shell around you. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of unexpected things. It's a lot of expectations that never happen sometimes. It is a lot. And some people just can't. It's funny because I sit back and I watch stuff and I do things and I talk to people and it makes me laugh sometimes. I literally like laugh like that's nuts. And I say this all the time, that's nuts. That's my favorite word. That's nuts. And I think it's nuts because I've grown my shell. My shell is still there, and you have to be in the circle for it to fall down. I'm like a turtle. I move real slow, right? I move like a turtle. I move real slow. I stick my head out and smile. When it thunder, I go back in. When I smell poop, I go back in.
Oh,
And
okay.
all of that. I'm like a turtle. Like I live in my shell, but people don't know it. So when you come into the circle, if you get in, right, I come out of the shell. But guess what happens? If I smell poop, I'm going back in the shell.
Okay. I mean, it's an interesting analogy to use a turtle, but we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
But I love that she used that because
smell poop.
I can relate to that because
Oh
that's kind
God.
of me too.
Yep.
Once I see you, I'm like, and
Yeah.
first of all,
Yeah.
good morning, ladies.
Good
Hello,
morning.
Good morning,
everyone
ladies.
out
Good
there
morning,
in
everybody.
land. Hello, everyone. But yeah, I could definitely relate to that. I mean, wholeheartedly. That's how I am. Once I read the room, I feel it. I'm like, nah, let me go on
Mhm.
back in. And I always use that turtle analogy. I love that. I love that.
That's
But
funny. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I find myself being a lot, just I don't know. I just always feel that I am who I am no matter what the situation is. And sometimes that tends to not be good, right? running a
What do you
business.
mean by that, G? What do you mean by that?
Well, because sometimes, I mean, I like to be open. I like to share a lot of stuff about myself. And I know sometimes that's just not the way you should do things. But for me, and I think a lot of times, if you're not really, I think people feel if you're not really hard, if you're not coming hard all the time, or you're too soft, then you're vulnerable. You know what I mean? Or you're easy, or they think, oh, well, I could get over on that person because sometimes you don't come in strong. You just come in like who you are. I'm open. I want to talk to people. I want to get to know people. And I think a lot of times people take that for weakness. And so they try to, oh, you know what I mean? They just try to step all over you because of that. But it is like, I remember one time I told somebody, I said, I don't know if I'm built for business because I'm just not ruthless sometimes. I'm just not in that mode. You know what I mean? For real. At least I don't feel that I am that way. And I've never
And
had
see,
anybody
and
say
that's
to
the
me that
problem
I am
right
that way.
there.
Huh?
And that's a problem. That's a misconception, in my opinion,
Yeah,
that
it
you
is.
have to be perceived or be
Yes.
ruthless in order to be successful in
Right,
business.
exactly. It is
And it's
perceived
like,
that way. But
why?
and when you're
Why do
not,
I
then
have to be?
people think that's a weakness, right? Or people think, oh, I could get over on that person because they don't seem to be, they don't. At least let me just say, they don't voice their
Mm-hmm.
opinion, hard enough for them
Mm-hmm.
for other people to step back and say, oh, she's serious. If you're kind of on an even keel and you're going with the flow, a lot of times people think that is not, it's not being strong. You know what I mean? And so I think sometimes it hinders you when you have to, at least for me, I can only speak for myself. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't find that I am um, what people, like you said, expect people to be in business. And again, you're right, Letitia, that those expectations are what people put on you
Mhm.
right? You know what I mean? In
Mhm.
business. So I think a lot of times you just feel you don't want to feel vulnerable in those situations because people do come into your circle and they can hurt you in your circle.
Because
They
some
can
people
hurt
are
Oh
you.
ruthless.
yeah,
And
And
they
and you
absolutely
know
can.
we've all
Yes.
been hurt by people who we thought were friends or people who
Yes.
supported us and things like
Mhm.
that. And I will tell you, when you open yourself up to that and you allow people in that circle and then they hurt you, to at least for me, it is very hard for me to get
Mhm.
over that.
Yeah.
see,
You,
I'll get over it. Here's my thing. I feel like that, like what Krisha said. Like my Angelou said it best. When you show me who you are, I'm gonna believe you. I think what
Mhm.
happens is once people show us who we are and we believe them and we kind of start backpedaling back, right? Then we become these bees. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
she's a bee. And then the other thing too is, and when I had this conversation Wednesday at our in our mentoring session, the mentoring session, some kind of what we got on clicks, right? And I said, there's always going to be clicks. It doesn't matter where you
yep.
are, it's going to be clicks,
Mhm.
right? The
Mhm.
issue becomes is what your clique actually do, how they act, how they treat people. That becomes an issue, not the fact
Mhm.
that you're in a clique, because we're gonna always have cliques. There's gonna be a group
Mhm.
of people that gravitate together and they're gonna stick together. There's gonna be a group
Mhm.
over here that gravitate, and it's how you act in the clique. That's the
Yeah.
problem,
Right.
because a lot of times when you get in these cliques, right, you act ugly. That's just and
Mhm.
that's when it becomes like, oh my God, it's a clique. Well, it's when the clique is acting ugly, right? But
Mhm.
again, that's your circle, and that's those are the people that you resonate with and you're part of,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. I would just say it's not about the clique, it's about the people that make up the clique. And if they
Yeah.
are ugly, they act ugly in the clique, they're just ugly in general. That's just who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot, man, and a lot of things happen to make us look like we are bees. We are bees, we are bosses, right? But the other bee, most of us are not. And if you got a chance to know us, you wouldn't think that about us. But again, you got to get to know us. That's the thing. And
Yeah.
if you
Mhm.
come in and trying to take, or you come in being fake, it's going to show. And let me tell you about me. I'm like, I've been doing it so long till I can smell BS a mile away and walk right through it and leave it right behind me and go back in my shell like, smell of BS right now. I'm gonna keep it moving though. I'm going back over in this shell till the sun come out again. Some people internalize it and
Yeah.
they make it they internalize the pain that we face sometimes,
Yeah.
and it eats
Mhm.
it slowly but surely. And that used to be me. It used to, like that thing with that pageant ate away at me. I'm
Yeah.
talking about I was miserable. Like didn't want to come out. I got ugly. People send me ugly mail like to my house. They had to know me. They had to know me because they had sent letters to my house. That ate me up. But when I did what Janine Biggins said from Voluptuous Woman, shout out to Janine Biggins. I don't even know if she's still running Voluptuous Woman. When I did what she said, which was grow tough skin, it's pretty much like F you. Then I become a
But
B.
again, that like you said, but then again, that's a process for some people. You know what I mean? Like that is a process. You have to learn how to take it in and then let it go. And the process in between of taking it in and letting it go, you know what I mean, depends on the type of person that you are, depends on the things that you've had to deal with. It's a whole lot of other stuff. It's not just like, well, I'm gonna take it in and just let it go. For some
Mhm.
people that work, for other people it's the process to do that.
Mhm.
When I when I
Oh,
when I when when I had that happen to me with my podcast, I had a podcast. I was with somebody working on that show, and they just did something really flaky, and they did something really awful to me, and it really shut me down
I
for
would have
like,
jumped on the plane when it kicked her in her head though. Like she would have got it.
Mhm.
I'm just
right, exactly. And so, and the other things too, like when things
I'm just
happen
kidding
and
people.
you share those things, people are always going to give you their opinions, but at the end of the day, you have to be the one to choose to
Right.
decide how you're going to
Right.
move forward. Doesn't make a
She
Right.
talking
difference.
about me. She talking about
Yeah.
me, y'all. When she said she's gonna give you.
Yeah.
She talking. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. She's talking
No,
about me because I would have punched her.
no,
Like we
not
would have been fighting.
not just
Like
you,
we would
not
have been.
just
I
you.
would have been
Trust
like,
me.
yeah, I'm coming for you. I'm listen. You lucky we can't say all this stuff on YouTube because she would have got it, sister. She talking about me when she say that. Yeah, it was me giving my opinion because I
It
would.
was
We would have
it
been.
was It wasn't only you. It was my cousin who talks like
That woman
you.
was
He
so
was,
horrible, y'all. She was. I wanted to go fight for Georgia. I wanted to go fight her. She was so horrible. Like
yeah, yeah.
she was nuts.
And then it just
Lucretia, you was going to say something?
it really
Go
put a
ahead.
bitter taste in my mouth. And again, those are the processes, because when you let people in and you're vulnerable and you share stuff and people do you wrong, it's a process for me. I can only speak for myself, right? It's a process that I have to go through first, and I think that's what everybody has those moments when they have to figure out how to process stuff, and then some people don't. They're just like I'm just gonna go there and kick some butt. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's just what
That
they
would have been
do.
me and Dana.
Yeah,
Me and
right,
Dana would
exactly. I was gonna
me and
say
Dana would have teamed up. Dana, meet me there, Dana. She be
you
taking the earrings off.
take
Hold
my
up, or I'm
earrings
coming.
off.
I'm coming. Just hold on a
You
second.
know,
I'm coming. We be take your earrings off in the airport. I'm on my way.
no, again, but it's that thing of opening up, right, to other people and allowing things like that to happen to you. And when things like that happen to you, then you have to readjust, right? You have to figure out how you're going to move in this world. You know what I mean, as a person, and are you going to stand up for yourself at some point? Bottom line, you know. So you don't always have to be a bee in business, but a lot of people push you into that space of becoming one.
Yeah,
You know,
I really do.
yeah, they do.
Well, for me, if anybody has the gall to call somebody a B, it's really their perspective. And most people are entitled to that. You call me whatever you want to call me. It don't make it true. And I mean, I know that because I know how I am. Going back to the turtle analogy, um, if I see, because I have senses just like you have senses. So if you got enough, if whatever you sensing about me is gonna make you call me that, then that's on you. But at the end of the day, I can see you too. So I can see what you're about. So therefore, I choose to move out of the way because
Hmm.
I'm not gonna be drawn into whatever you perceive me as. But I was gonna say, I was listening to another podcast with the local. Well, he's not. Well, I guess it's local. But this particular guy, he was an athlete. He had a famous show, and he now has club. You know what? I don't know if I can say his name or what have you, but
Don't
however,
say
he
his
was
name. Come after us.
no, it's a positive, but
Okay. It is
but
good to
it's
say.
huh? Oh, it's positive. It's very positive.
Okay, good.
But
Yeah, you can
but
say it.
because of Club Shay Shay, so
Okay.
I
Heard
actually went to
about that.
school with him, huh?
I just heard about Club Shay Shay.
Oh, it's cool. But he had
I was watching TV and I heard. And I'm like, I never heard of that till this morning. I think it was this morning I heard it or
but you
yesterday.
know what? It's amazing to see God move and what He will do for you. You might be out of one situation, but then because people think you a certain kind of way and they thinking they're gonna shut you down or what have you, but to see Him evolve is amazing. And I knew Him from college, but long story short, a famous comedian was on there, and it's good too. Very positive, Steve Harvey. So this was their interview together.
That's where I heard it from. Steve
Number
Harvey.
number one, Shannon did a magnificent job as an interviewer. Magnificent. And I mean, it was a 2 hour interview. I did not want it to end. But a lot of people don't like him. They don't care for him. Some people they don't like his presentation and to each his own. But that interview was so inspirational and so positive and funny and transparent. It was unreal. I mean, it was amazing. And so, I'm just piggybacking on what we were just talking about here. There was a part in it where Steve was basically saying, people was looking at him, talking about him, dogging him out. And Shannon asked him, and I call him Shane, but Shay, Uncle Shay Shay, he shout out to y'all because you did that thing, both of you. Anyway, he was asking him how did he deal with it, and so he how did he deal with it or what have you, and he said I don't care what the next man think. He said I'm not in competition with anybody. He said he might be in competition with me, basically. And I'm paraphrasing here. This is not accurate word, but basically he was saying he said I can't worry about somebody else. And he talked about how he learned how to be that way. And he said he met dream killers early, but his daddy
Mm.
instilled a value system in him. I think when he was a kid, he wrote a paper, and the teacher asked him each student what they want to be in class. You know the story. And but he's
Mhm.
very passionate about it because it has still stuck with him. He's 66 years old. So imagine if so this particular teacher said, basically you can't be that. So that's putting a stigma on
Mm-hmm.
him, period. Like other people want to put that B word stigma on you. Don't put me in something because you got a problem on how
Yeah.
you perceive me to be. I can be whatever I want to be, you know, and I will be that. But he had somebody to come and reinforce that. That's why that group that you're talking about, your circle, it has to be full of people who they're not gonna necessarily coddle you, but they can keep it 100 with you. But you know, they got your back or what have you. Anyway, that being said, all these misconceptions don't mean a hill of beans. At the end of the day, it's how I perceive myself.
Mm-hmm.
I am wonderful. I am unique. I am a treasure. That's what I am. And even though sometimes I may not feel that way about me, because sometimes we got to check ourselves. My
Mhm.
circle is so good that they recognize and it's strong. When I'm feeling that way, you know, they come and pour into me. You know, it's and
Yeah.
that's having a good team. So
Speaking of
whatever.
circles,
Huh?
speaking of circles, hey, stop by Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce to become a member of our circle. We are
Yes.
here 24/7 to support you.
Yes.
Shameless
Yes, we
plug.
are.
Shameless plug for GWC. Listen, I got to plug it. Let me tell y'all something. That circle is so important. And you know what's crazy about the circle, right? Like we could all be head business women in charge, right? But here's what's
Mhm.
crazy about your circle. Your circle is like this, right? And you may even let in a few people. They infiltrate. They work. Because you got some people that wiggle in. They wiggle in, right? But what's
Wiggling.
inside the circle is so powerful. They will back there. They will back out. I want Ooh, if YouTube did not censor us, baby, this would be the real show. They were back right on out of the circle, and you don't have to do nothing. You just sit there and watch them. That's all.
That's
Because what's
good.
inside that circle is so powerful and it's
Yes.
so real. And they were there for the wrong reason. You know, they were there for whatever the reason was. And they back right on out. You don't have to say nothing. You just see them back. It's crazy. I think about
Mhm.
all these things, and I have these conversations with amazing people, and it triggers things in my head, and I'm like, that's true. And let me tell y'all something. Stuff go right over my head a lot of times. Creature has said things to me, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see it. It go
Yeah.
right over my head until somebody say something that triggers something that make me think. 'Cause that's how this title came about. Like somebody said something, I'm like, oh, that's a good title. Even someone said something yesterday, day before yesterday, and it said it was a trigger, and I was like, I'm gonna make that a show episode, but I'm gonna say it now because I thought it was pretty cool. It said, "Are you a true friend or are you a conditional friend?"
Mm.
And I was like,
Ooh, that's good right there. Mm.
and I was like, what? Right. And I had to think about that. And I talked to my daughter about it. And she was like, yeah, I can see why they could say that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds crazy. But I had never thought about that. So it's a lot. Maybe that'd be the next show. But that's that's a powerful statement. And normally in
Yeah.
all my shows I say, I give out inspiration. But when you think about that, that's powerful. Are you a true friend? And are you a conditional friend? And for
Mm-hmm.
me, you know you are a true friend when you have true friends.
Yeah.
If
You
you
know
don't
that. You
have
know them.
somebody to call a true friend, then you're not a true friend. So if you don't have a true friend, you're not a true friend. Because true friends have true friends.
Well,
Is that
listen, being an
True.
Well,
entrepreneur,
that's
you
interesting.
will find that out. You will definitely
Hmm.
find
Oh
out
yeah.
who
You'll
your
definitely
true
find
friends
absolutely,
out.
are
Yeah.
being
Without a
an
doubt.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They will show
absolutely.
themselves if they really are your true friends. And that
Yep.
goes for your fair weather family members as well. Again,
What?
all of that
Say it again,
contributes.
sister. Say it again. Say it one
I
more
said
time.
your fair weather family as well.
Woo!
All of that contributes to having that hard shell that we talked about earlier because you have to, and the biggest key to that, in my opinion, is start yourself a business right now
Hmm.
and see
Hmm.
who is going to support you.
Support
I
you. Oh my
promise
gosh.
you.
Oh,
I promise you, those people that was behind you, in front of you, on the side of you, that so-called rocking with you,
girl,
baby,
they all
you
under the
gonna
rug now. You can't even
really,
find them. Okay.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then, like you said earlier, then once you start getting yourself in a position to where you're being seen, you have a different walk, a different talk, a different swag. The
Yep.
your circle is upgraded. Then they're like, she thinks she all that, or she being, and it's like, I am, and thank you for noticing that I am all of that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I am stepping in that because I have the battle scars to
Mm-hmm.
prove that I belong and I deserve to be exactly where I am. And guess what? You could have been here with me as well, but you chose not to. So if
Yeah.
that's a label you want to give me, baby, I'll take it. Yes, I'm gonna grab it. Yes, and I am okay with that. And that
Yeah,
I've had to
but
learn that.
why can't you be all that before you get all that stuff? I mean, if you're a friend, you know what I'm saying? Like, why can't they look at you as being all that in the beginning? Like
Because they were
Because
never
you
they
got
your
a
didn't.
certain
friend.
place for them to
Because
say,
they
oh,
were never
now
your
she's all
friend.
that. Well,
That's why. Because they
that's
were
who
never
I
your
Or
am.
they
I've
may
friend in the
been
have,
first
that
they
place.
way.
may have been a conditional friend, right? You
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
got
were the
conditional
conditional
friends.
friend.
exactly.
Yes,
They're
they
Right.
were the
conditional
conditional
friends.
friend.
They're there for the season, and so that goes back to this, right? That's the old saying: people in your life for a reason in the season, and that's
And
probably
that's
true.
true. That is
But
so
Yeah.
true.
I can tell you right now, when people have come into my life for the wrong reasons, it it backfire on them.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
They it backfire. It don't backfire on me. It backfire on them. So I know who conditional friends are. I'm like, okay, they'll be gone soon. I, you
But
just
you know,
know.
but you know, I say this thing, and it's funny you would say that because um, I always ask people sometimes when I'm, talking to people, inspirational wise, Bible wise, or what have you, um, what kind of lover are you? Are you a conditional lover or are you an unconditional lover? So, in order to be a friend, you have to show yourself friendly. And in order to be a true friend is not based on a you don't, there is no basis. What I
It's
mean,
no,
how could
it
you,
shouldn't
you
be
know,
on
it's
base
no
on what you
basis
can
on that
get out of that person.
because
That's the difference.
I have different types of people in my life. So the way
Mhm.
that they may show, that's where that love language comes in. There are different types. Some of them are acts of service, some of them are quality
Mm-hmm.
time. They'll hang with you all day long. Some people they just want to come and clean up for you, or they might want to just say, girl, I picked up this, and then what is it? Quality time, acts of service, physical touch. Just come to me. You can,
Affirmations.
words of affirmation, and
Okay.
some, and it's one more. Did I say all of them? Anyway, but
Yeah.
some people are words of affirmation because you can. I am that person. I believe that. I, and also we have to understand that what we might give out, the type of friend that I may be, may not be what you need. I can't get the
Right.
same thing that I like to you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
might not
You're
like,
gonna give your love language out more than the person who needs their
but you have to be
love
careful
language
doing
given.
that. We have to
Yeah.
be careful
I
doing
know
that
you shouldn't.
because we can just because I might like greeting cards, you might want me to say it instead of giving it to you, or you might like a bunch of gifts, and I may be like, shoot, what's up? I love you. You like, no, show me you love me, give me a
And
cake,
and that and that is me. That is me. I have to see it, and I have to hear it. Those two
hmm
things go hand in hand for me.
So
You
words
can
of
say whatever you
affirmation.
want, and words
hmm
of affirmation
Yeah.
and acts of service
Acts of
are
service,
two
okay.
two biggies for me. If
hmm
your
Mm-hmm.
words and your actions don't match up, then
Right,
baby, it's later for
right,
you for me.
Yeah.
It has
right.
to
Yeah.
match.
And me, it's I'm a very interesting person. I think because I'm a talker, I enjoy talking. So communicating is very, very important to me. That's vital to me. But because intuitive, I can pick up on that the real. So if you being fake and phony or whatever, I pick it up instantly, instantly. And I'm like, no, this is not gonna do it. And I had this one, and this is one more thing. Yesterday, at my other job, I had this lady who, for whatever reason, this lady loves to antagonize me. She does it intentionally, but because I have grown and matured, I don't react, and she can't stand that. So she'll do little things to just mess with me. Now, like we in school, and I'm like, what is wrong with this lady? And I could see her doing it, and I'm like, wow. And anyway, yesterday she comes up to me and she says my name and she points down at my feet, and I said, this lady about to say something crazy. We in a room full of people. And she did. So I said, Lucretia, don't do it. Just so I said, she pointed it out, and then she says, she was doing all that, and I said, okay, and she was like, I'm just saying they are this and that. I said, okay. And she looking at me and I'm looking at her. What do you want? Because what you're not gonna get is power. But she wanted me to react and respond. You get nothing. Because you're not in my circle. We're not like that. Whatever you saying or whatever you thinking, it don't even matter. And now you real bold because now you coming up even closer. So it's like we have to be able to woosah and keep on going. Because I really could have snapped, on her, and she could have caught me on a bad day. But I'm glad that God is constantly in my ear and in my heart. Just love, be courteous, be kind, and keep on moving. But I may not always be able to do that.
Sometimes that's hard, Chris.
That is
right.
hard.
Sometimes that's hard because people will push your buttons, and that's why when I know I'm around people who could push my button, I kind of stay in my little shell because I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite there where she would have said something and looked at me, and I probably would have said something, looked back at her, and it probably been just going on back and forth for a few minutes. So I'm not quite there yet.
And
I'm
it was
still
hard
a little around the edges. And I don't. It is what it is. Like I grew up. You had to be rough around the edges. That's why I grew up. You had to be. Otherwise, you had to survive. And it's so funny because my brother and I, like night and day, we grew up together, right? And he's a social butterfly. People probably think I'm a social butterfly. He is the social butterfly now in between the two of us. He's one of my best friends. Yep, talk to everybody, anybody, laughing, playing. That's him, right? They call me the mean one. I don't think I'm mean, but I am definitely no nonsense, and I will smile. But I've learned that I'm not there yet. So when I see BS, I have to remove myself. I have to back up. I have to take some steps back because I'm not quite there yet. My brother and I have been in situations where he would say, "Don't say nothing. I'm gonna talk." And I'd be like, "Okay," and I won't say a word. I said it just like this.
But you also have to give yourself grace because I feel like we are a group of mature women, and I feel like we know how to conduct ourselves in whatever situation that we're put into. But at the same time, we're also human. So there are times because I can say I'm there, but I am there-ish. Meaning if you catch me on the right day, which is the wrong day for you, baby, you gonna get it. You are going to get it. All etiquette is out the window. Out the window.
But you
And
know
I'm
what?
just being
For me,
honest.
I don't necessarily have the problem is I don't have a gray area. So I have to be real careful because when it's on, it's on. And I'm not gonna stop. I'm not. I'm not gonna stop. You're not gonna like it.
Right.
You gonna probably attach that B word and everything else to me. But by then I really don't care. So so it's best for me to just go on because the lady actually hit a button on something that I'm kind of sensitive about, so this body shaming, that's what it was, and I had to check me because that meant that, she just being who she is, you know.
Right,
But
right,
I had
right.
to ask myself, okay, why are you so uncomfortable in certain areas or with certain things? This is you, you
Right.
know. And so she pointed them out, but you got a problem with them too, And I'm like, so I really couldn't. So I was already self-conscious because I'm
Right.
trying to do better about, you know, wearing certain things and doing certain, or what have you, and learn how to love me even more. And for somebody who already antagonized me, go call out the very thing. See, God is funny, which is one of the other things that Steve
Hmm.
was talking about. He was talking about with the pageant.
He will put
He
you in
said,
those situations, I tell you.
hey, but guess
Yeah,
what? He had
the
said,
test you.
make me global, enlarge my territory, basically. And he said, but I didn't know he was gonna do it like that. I'm saying to God, you ain't have to do me like that. That's what he said. That was so
Mm.
funny. But when we're growing and
Mhm.
trying to evolve, he would use the very thing
Yep.
sometimes that, I was like, I know this lady ain't come. I'm talking about this a room full of people. I said, ooh, wait. But it was a growing moment. It was a learning tool. It was a lesson for
Mhm.
me to
Mhm.
embrace me even more. So
Hmm.
anyway, we can't worry about
And
these
that's
people.
real, and that's really what it's
Yep.
all about. It is all about us growing. And the one of the great things I can say for me about being a head bee is that it definitely puts a mirror on you.
What?
Being a
Woo,
what?
honey.
Being a what?
Being the head
Yeah.
bee.
Oh,
It
yes.
it definitely puts a mirror on you. So first of all, you can't be a head B without looking in the mirror, right? So you
Right.
can sit there and speak with conviction and have this strong personality and be able to conduct business and close deals without looking in the mirror.
Yeah,
Because a
you
lot,
gotta be. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah,
Keep on.
you
What
have
do
to,
you mean?
because what
What do you mean
happens?
by that?
Yeah,
Explain
that's
that part.
Because in order for you to be successful, right, in business, there is layers and stages to every single thing. And if you say, and in our case, we are on our $1 million run, right? If we say we want to be multimillionaires and we've identified tools and to be that, well, being a multimillionaire means that you are going to have to talk different. You're going to have to act different. You're going to have to be around a different group of people that can be able to pay you what you feel like you deserve in order to get to that. Well, when you look in the mirror, you have to ask yourself, self, am I now in position to be able to get those certain clients and be able to deal with those certain clients on the level that I am expected to get? So it's not about me just receiving, it's also about me giving, which is why you have to look in the mirror. And a lot of times on your journey to being this head B, you can call yourself a head B, but baby, life is going to life and it's going to show you who you really are in
Yep.
these situations. And depending on your faith, oh, it is amazing how you will say one thing and the very thing that you need to grow and get strong on, you're going to get tested immediately.
yeah,
Immediately.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Immediately.
Well,
And you laugh
life
about
will
it a
call
lot
you
of
out all
times.
the time. There is no
Yes,
doubt about that.
yes.
You
And
know.
I can tell you this too. If you know who you are, then you know how to conduct yourself. Like certain things trigger you, and then you know how to conduct yourself. Because I think for me, being here so long, I know I grew up rough, right? I knew I grew up rough. I knew I had to be tough, but I know me. So when I see things that I know would trigger me, I'm
Hmm.
backing up. I'm going right back in my shell. I'm gonna back
And
on out the
and
way.
that's me. And that's me.
It's going
That's
to trigger me. So I know
yeah.
it's going to trigger me. So I try not to put myself in them
New
situations. When I
position.
see people
Yes.
that show up in my life and I feel like they showed up for a specific reason and I don't like that reason, I'm gonna go back in my shell. Because I know if I come out, it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah, but
Like
Audrey,
that
that's
But
mirror
because
is
you
but
have
ugly.
looked
we
in the
but we
mirror.
but
That's
we
So
because you
also
looked in the mirror, though. That's the reason.
but
The reason why you recognize those triggers is because you've looked in the mirror and you've worked on
absolutely.
yourself. That's the
Yep.
reason why
Absolutely.
you can recognize them.
But
Absolutely.
also, though, we also are going to be in those spaces, and that's the lesson. The other takeaway that I took from yesterday's event was the spaces and the places that we're going to go to and where we're going to be. I'm going to meet people like that, and they may
Yep.
come back to back. So at the
Mhm,
end of the day, somebody gonna say something, somebody gonna not
Mm-hmm.
like something, and
Yep.
it has to
mhm,
be okay. The other
Mhm.
thing I believe I have the tendency to do is downplay who I am.
mm,
Yeah. Well,
See,
I can
I
raise
have
my
a
hand on
tendency
that
to
one.
do that. You know, I am an entrepreneur. I am a author. I am a CDL holder. Or what have you. I am a mother. I am a good mother. And sometimes we can downplay. I'm gonna say me. I have a tendency to just kind of minimize, who I
Play
am, and I don't.
small. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't,
Yeah. I
why
understand.
I do that. I don't know why I do that. But then when I start talking, people like, whoa, who is this? I'm me, but only people who I guess know me in my circle know who I am. But we getting ready for the world. And the world better get ready for us because we're a powerful
Right.
group of women, and we don't have time to hide because we have purpose. And sometimes
Mm,
I don't want to put that mantle on, but this is purpose. We are meeting people, we are helping people's lives, and helping people to grow and become greater as we become greater. So we don't have
Mhm.
time to minimal. I got to stop playing small, and I have been
Right.
doing that. So that's why that bothered me a little bit. But when you on a whole another level, you don't even see that. It's a knack. You know what it is. Keep pushing because the purpose is greater than that moment, and that's what it's about for me.
and I think the fact that we know who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know what our goals are. We know what our dreams are, aspirations, and all that stuff. And so when people, when I heard that, when I got the idea for the title for this episode, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put it out there because you may look at us a certain way, but you don't know us.
Right.
Unless you know us, you don't know us. And it's just that
Mm-hmm.
simple. Even with us showing up here every month, you're getting a glimpse into who we are, but you
Mm-hmm.
still got to get to know us intimately. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
some of us just may be beings in charge. This may be the other being.
Right.
We just
Right.
That's just who they are, and that's
Right.
mm,
okay. But I'm telling
right.
you, with everything in me, they're not like that with everybody. It's
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
they have had to wrap themselves in that shell,
Yep.
and now that's the way it looks to everybody else. And
Mm-hmm.
by nature, you would think about this. Think about the toughest person you know, right? And you'd be like, "Oh my!" Remember the show, the movie, The Devil Wears
Oh,
Prada.
Yeah.
yes.
That was a perfect example
Right.
of that.
Yeah.
Everybody thought she was horrible. She got made that way, y'all. And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
she gave out great advice.
And
Hey y'all.
they thought she was.
Hi.
Hey. Okay.
Thanks for
Hi,
stopping by,
y'all. Welcome. But
Franklin. So I forgot to give him a shout out early. Hey, honey. He said, hey, honey. Hey, Franklin. That's my
hey,
husband,
how
y'all.
Hey,
you doing?
Franklin.
Hey,
Hey,
Franklin.
honey.
Good morning,
Hi,
Franklin.
Andrea. Thanks for stopping by. Um,
Yes, thank you.
when you think
Thank you,
about that,
Andrea.
right? The Devil Wears Prada. Um, it is a great movie, but it's an
Mhm.
example of just what we're talking about. People that looked at her, she was horrible. When you looked at the movie in the beginning, it was like she would come in, she would throw the coat on the girl desk, hand her the coat. She just dropped it. She just dropped it. Now that was her just being ugly, I feel like. But deep down, she was a nice person. But
Mm-hmm.
she had probably been in an industry that made her who she was. And so when she got a chance to show the other side of her, and she's like, "Don't become me." Remember that, y'all? When they
Yeah.
was in the
Yeah.
car, and the young girl was like, she was so ambitious, and she's like, "Don't become
Don't become me. Yeah.
me." So
That's a whole nother segment right there because it as I think Letitia, you said that there are layers, to that because when you said that, because at first I was gonna say, well, she wasn't horrible, she was hard, but then you're right, because why would you just throw your jacket, or your coat on somebody's table who is there to provide service for you, who's working with you?
Mhm.
That's part of your team. So what kind of
mhm.
leader are you? they were afraid of her. What she said? Well, she said.
Oh, protect her position.
So
Yeah.
she
Yep.
was concerned, right? That's good. She was
Mm-hmm.
concerned about that. That's okay.
Yes.
That's good. This now that's some good FFT. But to double back real quick back to that unconditional love and the
Mm-hmm.
conditional
You
love,
can pop the acronym out. What the heck is FFT?
food for thought.
Oh, okay. That's some good FFT. Like, what is that?
I forget that I say that. My spiritual mother, she would say that she would always give us a FFT, when she was during Bible study or what have you. She would always give a good FFT. And I always grabbed that because I thought it was good food for thought. It's something for you to chew on that's nourishing for your body. It makes you think. And I love that's the wonderful thing about being a part of this group, for y'all. Come on in and join because we have all these FFT moments. We have things that provoke us and evoke thought in us. But I was gonna say, what she was saying, she was
Testing people's loyalty to her. The lady in the
See, that's
movie.
interesting. That's even more. We can talk about that even more. But what kind of lover was her? What was her? Bad grammar. What kind of lover was she? Was she an unconditional lover, or was she was a conditional lover? As long as you was picking up her coat and getting her coffee and picking up her packages and preparing her sandwich exactly how she wanted it, because she had all these specifics, she was cool with you. But she really wasn't being loving. But see, sometimes we can get that conditional love misconstrued as well, But an unconditional love, what does that mean? Because some people are like, oh, they unconditionally love me because they do everything you say. What is that?
Right.
'Cause,
Right.
I,
Exactly.
I I consider myself one. I'm gonna love you regardless. But then when I check myself, I'm like, no, you're really not unconditional. Only Jesus was. Now I'm a believer. That's not to offend anyone. But that's for me, that's what it was, but what it is. But are you really an unconditional love? Or are you a conditional love?
Most
Which
people are
one are you?
conditional.
Well,
Most people,
and
most
You
people are
think
also
so?
conditional.
and also too, I think the loyalty to another person again is based on conditions, right? So I can have a loyalty to a certain person or company or organization or whatever because I want something out of that. The
But
loyalty
she
to them is not something, I'm just being loyal because I really care about that person. And I'm being loyal because I want something in return. So again,
You
that's
have a
conditions,
motive.
right?
Hmm.
So
but she wanted loyalty, but was she really
she
getting
wasn't
it?
given loyalty.
Well, she was loyal to her brand, just like she said she was loyal to her position.
Hmm. Right.
But she
Yes.
was because if you looked at it when she went home, but then that was interesting too, because that was she wasn't in that space, as the top. What you call it? The HB. What you call it?
HB, HB
Yeah,
in business.
for
She wasn't the
babies and
HB
pets.
at home.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So that kind of carried over to the office. So she wasn't HB at home. She was soft and she was broken. But in that office, she was in charge. And
Right.
so listen, we
unconditional
can talk
love is for babies and
I
pets.
know. Even when you say when
absolutely.
Fluffy poops on the carpet. I know that's right.
Oh, child.
Yeah,
Oh,
because we don't be
oh,
right.
child. Fluffy got to go, Fluffy. You got to go, Fluffy.
Mm-mm.
Poops
Yeah,
on
Mm-mm.
because
my
we go,
carpet. It's
Fluffy, why would you do that? And if my child did it, I'd be like, really?
we can
That's
talk about
good.
this subject all day long, but we don't have all day because we are head bees in charge business owners.
So
Um,
true.
so
Mm-hmm.
so true. We got
We got
other
more
stuff.
stuff to get to.
Yes, yes, more stuff. But here's the thing. This is what I want you guys to take away from this. Lucretia said it earlier. They can call you whatever they want to call you is what you answer to that's important. And
Mhm.
so you may be a business owner. You may actually be a B in your business, the other B. That and if that is you, then good, great, that's you. It is what it is. But what I would say is just know that when you're looking for people to show up, when you're looking for, you know, people to be in your corner, sometimes it's ugly if you the other B, right? So just be aware of that. So you gotta go do a little self-assessment and see where you are, because if you are that person who is always just there with your hand out, you give, but you give to get. You don't give just to give, you give to get.
Hmm.
It's gonna always backfire in your face.
Yeah.
know, it's gonna always turn people off. You know, you're gonna turn your people off in your office. You're gonna turn the folks off at church. You're gonna turn them all off at the church. Everybody, the
You
pastor
say
gonna be turned
church?
off. You're gonna take your tithes and still be turned off. If you are that person, you might just want to do a little bit of reflection. Just take a look at yourself and say, you know what, I want to be a better me. I listen, I'm constantly working on myself. I know I'm a work in progress.
Yeah.
I know nobody hasn't told me that because I know it. I'm a work in progress, and prayerfully I get better every day. I can tell you this though, Crease, when you be saying stuff like, "Ooh, the hairs on my arm stood up," for me, it's like a sound. Like so, let me just tell y'all this real quick. Georgette and I met this man one time, and he told us we all have these gifts, right? He told me I was a clairaudient, and that means that I hear things. I literally do. Never knew what that meant though, right? So I'm the person when you could talk to them and I can be looking at you, but I'm hearing everything you say. I hear things. Like I hear when stuff is going bad, and it's like somebody's in my ear talking, and I
Mm,
watch it unfold. Like it has been said already, and I watch it unfold. And he was like,
Right.
"Well, a clairaudient." Now people would think, "Oh my God, that's witchcraft." No, it's not. It's a gift. And I didn't ask for the gift. It's just that I'm the person that if you say something to me, I hear you first, and I can print out a whole something of what you just said and make it make sense in the visual. So I tend to hear stuff before it's even said, right? And you feel stuff because you said it.
mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that's it.
Yeah, me too.
I hear
Yeah.
things.
Right.
You don't have to say a word,
Mm-hmm.
not one, and I'll hear it. And then later on, like I knew that was happening. I knew that was going to
Right.
happen.
Mhm.
So
Right.
there's a lot that we learn through life. There's a lot of things we go through. What I would say is find yourself a circle. Yes, find you a good circle, a
Mhm.
circle that can be true to you and you can be true to it.
Yeah.
I love
And get
that.
in there. A circle that's going to lift you up and you lift
Mm-hmm.
it up. Find
I
yourself a
love
circle.
that.
Don't
I
find a
love
circle
that.
where it's just you giving all you got. Because I've been in those circles where I'm giving everything and I'm getting nothing back. It's like Les Brown said one time, who motivates the motivator?
Mm-hmm.
Who feeds the giver? Who
That's
feeds the giver?
good. Yep.
Somebody has
Yeah.
to feed you. So find a circle that's going to feed you, but also find a circle that you don't mind feeding.
Right.
That's all I
That's
got to say.
good.
You guys want to say some closing arguments? Go. I feel like we're in court. What's your closing argument?
I just
Um,
love it.
I will say for me, look in the mirror. That's my biggest thing right now. You can have expectations of other people if number one, you don't know what you need, and number two, you haven't taken a look at yourself. One of the biggest pet peeves I've had, in having my circle, I had a friend who would always say, she's looking for a man to, make a certain amount of money. She's looking for him to not have kids. She's looking for him to own his own home. All these criterias. And I would always say, but what in the world are you bringing to the table? While those are great qualities that you want to have in a person, at the end of the day, I feel like you should, at a bare minimum, have exactly at least what you are asking somebody else to have. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, my takeaway would be for everyone just to look in the mirror. Really get very honest with yourself and where
Yep.
you are. Get honest with your expectations and really do the work. Because at the end of the day, no, your happiness is only your responsibility. Nobody else's but yours. So those are my closing
Pretty
words.
much. Pretty much. I mean, agree with everything everybody said. It's a process. It's a learning process. It is a come to Jesus moment with yourself about who you are as a person. Who you allow to be in that circle, who you can take out of the circle, and it's okay to take people out of the circle. People have to understand that too. If they're not served, if they're just if it's just bad energy, that you have to be able to remove that energy, because at the end of the day, kind of just what you said, like, who motivates the person who is constantly motivating other people? And that can be very wearing and tearing on a person's spirit and a person's soul. So just as my favorite song from just what Letitia said. My favorite song is Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. You know what I mean? Like, you have to look in that mirror. And you have to be able to have and then not just look in the mirror, you have to have the conversations in the mirror. You can't just look in the mirror. You have to literally have conversations in the mirror, with yourself about who you are. And if you don't know who you are, then you have to spend time figuring that out too, because when you don't know who you are is when most people will take advantage of that. So you have to just own that and, motivate yourself too. So.
My husband is a fool, y'all. So.
Who hears things before it happens? Oh, Lord.
Oh, God.
He is a mess.
Yes, make sure it's all good things she's hearing, Franklin, just so you know.
I love it.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, my God.
At the end of the day, for me, it's just basically, treat people how you want to be treated. And do the circle. Having a circle is a beautiful thing. Having a strong circle is even greater. But sometimes, and I think that what is the saying? You're only as strong as the weakest link.
Weakest link.
So if you recognize certain things in your circle, come together as a circle and try to strengthen the circle. Just be better. I love it. I mean, everybody, y'all said everything that needs to be said. It starts with you. It's good. That's it for me,
guys. We love you guys for sticking around with us. If you're on Amazon, shout out to Amazon. Amazon always comes strong and stay long. So thank you for always coming on Amazon and hanging out. Like I'm looking down, y'all. So that's because Amazon is on the phone and everybody else is on the computer. Thank you so much. If you're on Amazon right now, be sure to pick up our book. So my book is You Got Something to Say. And Letitia's book is So You Think You Want to Be a Boss. Lucretia and Georgia books are coming. And so we appreciate you guys for hanging in here with us for an hour and 6 minutes. We appreciate that. We'll be back again next Friday for more of the Mingle. Listen, we're still a little bit uptight, right? We're trying to get to the point where we loosen up a little bit, but everything is always so serious to us because we are head deep in charge.
Well, listen, ladies, I have to go ahead and jump off. I have 11:15, and I do not want to be late. I'm in a parking lot, but I got to jump off. Have a good one. Love you all.
Have a great weekend. We got to jump off too because we got a training right after this. So listen, thank you again for being here with us. We'll be back again next Friday at 10 a.m. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. And until next time, make it a great day. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Friday Morning Mingle. If you enjoyed this episode of the show, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite streaming platform. If you would like to join a community of women who mean business, we invite you to become a member of the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce by going to www.gwinnettwomenschamber.com, or to become a member of the Thrive Tribe, go to www.thrivetribe.biz. Tune in next week for another great episode of the Friday Morning Mingle at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.